Hello, welcome to episode 115 of the Datapack tutorial series, version 1.21.4, take note. We're going to do multiplayer crawl anywhere. This was requested by Rexington R, and with a little bit of help from Galsergi, we got this working quite nicely. Well, Galsergi got it working quite nicely. Okay, so what's the idea? So let's do a demonstration with Minion. Minion, you could just go off crawling, please. There we go. Bye-bye. Yeah. And if I feel like it, I can go crawling as well. So we can crawl separately. Multiplayer safe, and we are using shulkers, so there is a shulker above Minion there, just a tiny little one. In fact, can we see it if I'm in Spectator? There it is. That little shulker there, you can just see it, and that is stopping Minion from standing up. But what we don't want is we don't want players to be able to stand on it, so we've also added in, if I get on top here and I jump on Minion, all that's going to happen is they're just going to go out and stand up and look rather sad and dejected. Oh, bless you. Okay, that's what we're going to be making. Let's clear our inventory, and let's get on and build it now. Right, here we are in VS Code, and I've added a load of folders and files. What have I added? Inside my namespace advancement, inside the folder advancement, firstjoin.json. And inside my namespace function, I've added the folder crawl, and we've got active, first join, remove, start, init, start, step on check, step on disable, step on, stop, tick crawl, and we'll be using the load and the tick function. And inside my namespace, I've added the folder predicate, and we have ID match, input jump, is sneaking, and step on entity. Those are going to be what we're using, and if you miss one out, don't worry, because you can just add it later. So let's start with load. Load's going to be a nice simple one. Unique ID for all players. Okay, scoreboard, objectives, add, ID, dummy, save, we're done. Nice, that's done. Okay, let's make our advancement for first join as well. So let's go over to Misode. We want an advancement, and criteria, we'll call it first join. Criteria first join, let's add that. It will be a ticking. So it's just going to tick, and we're not going to have any conditions or anything. It's just going to run. And we will, I said it's not going to have any conditions, and I tried to add one. No, we will add a reward. Our reward will be a function, so I'll just put a placeholder for now. And I'm going to save that, or copy it rather. And go back, go to our first join, and I'm going to paste it in there. And I'm going to change the function we're calling. We're going to call first join. Let's put that in there. Let's save that. Okay. Let's go to first join. And let's just say hi. Save. In fact, actually what we'll do is we'll assign the ID at the same time, because from testing, I've probably already got the advancement. I've probably already got an ID, so we're probably going to have to reset this. But let's set the ID anyway. Execute unless score at s ID equals at s ID. Basically, we're saying do this if they don't already have an ID. Store result as a score at s ID run scoreboard players add to a fake player who we'll just call next ID 1. Okay, let's save that. We won't need to say hi. Let's go back. Okay, let's do a reload. Now let's get score ID up on the sidebar, and you'll probably see I've still got one from last time testing, I think. So what I'm going to do is I am going to scoreboard players reset for all players their ID. Okay, so none of us have got an ID, and now let's remove that advancement. Advancement revoke for all players only ID first join. So this, when I press this, I won't have the advancement anymore. It'll be like we're brand new characters logging in for the first time. So you won't have to do those last couple of bits, because you will be a brand new character. Okay, now I've got the ID 3 and 4, because during testing I moved next up to 1 and copied the ID to me, and then I moved next up to 2 and copied the ID to minion. So next is still on 2. Is that going to be a problem? Well, what's the highest integer limit? Something like 2.7 billion or something. So unless that many people join your map on one computer, I don't think you've got a problem. Cool. We've got an ID. Let's move on. Let's close first join and first join advancement. Right, let's do the tick. Tick, we're going to process crawling. So all we're going to do is call our own tick function, but we'll execute as all players at themselves run function, and he's not going to autofill for me, so I'll grab it from down here. Crawl, tick, crawl. Okay, tick's done. Bye, tick. Let's do tick, crawl. Okay, now we're starting to get a bit more complicated. Check if the player starts crawling, check if the player is crawling, check if the player stops crawling, and check if the player is trying to stamp on top of another player. Okay, so let's execute. If entity at s tag equals not crawling, so they're not already crawling. Ooh, and we're going to want to check their x rotation to see if they're looking at the ground. X rotation equals, let's say, anywhere like 80 to 90. And we're also going to want to check a predicate, so we're going to have to make a predicate in a minute. Predicate equals, and we'll have the is sneaking predicate. Predicate equals is sneaking. So if all of that is true, then we will run function crawl start. Crawl start. Okay, that seems all right. Now we'll check if the player is crawling. Execute if entity at s tag equals crawling. We will run a function active. Obviously, you can call those directories or those folders, those files, whatever you want. Check if the player stops crawling. Okay, let's execute if entity s. So they have to be crawling already, so we'll say tag equals crawling. And we want to know if they press jump, so we'll say predicate equals, and down here in our predicates we've got an input jump. Copy that, pop that in there. So they are crawling, they try to jump. We will run function crawl stop. Copy resource path, put that in there. Check if the player steps on another player's shulker. This is probably going to be the most complicated one. I'll try and describe it so it makes sense. Not this actual function I'm about to write, but later on. Execute if predicate step on entity if function step on check. So if both of those are true, we will run function step on. Okay, let's save that. Right, we might as well start with check if the player starts crawling. So for that, we're going to need the is sneaking predicate. So let's go off and make that predicate. Is sneaking. Right, off we go to misode. Let's reset that to default in case we ever come back. Let's go to predicate and let's make an is sneaking. So this is a nice little easy one. We're going to check entity properties. The entity will be this. The predicate we will check for flags, and the flags is sneaking. There we go. Copy that. We'll take it back. We'll paste it in there. We'll save it. Okay. We can now check if they're sneaking. And that's going to run the function crawl start. So crawl start, let's go here. Tag the player with crawling. Tag at s add crawling. Nice easy one. Copy the player's ID to storage. Okay, so what we're basically going to do here is we are literally, as it says, we're going to grab the player's ID and we're going to stick it into we're going to stick it onto a fake player. We're going to use this for ID matching later. So we're going to do scoreboard players. So we're not really copying it to storage. Operation. Now we need a fake player, so we'll just call them ID holder. And their ID is going to equal the player's ID. Let's change that from storage to fake player so it makes more sense. Now we're going to summon a text display and set it up. Why a text display? Well, if we just summon a shulker, the shulker can only move in discrete blocks. So it's going to chunk from one block to the other. Now and stay in the center. So if I make it small, it's going to stay in the center of each block. And as I start to crawl out, I'll pop up. So that's a problem. But a text display, we can slide it around wherever we like. So we're going to have the shulker riding on a text display. That's the idea of using that. So let's do execute position. Let's attempt to spell things correctly. Execute positioned. Bump, bump, bump. Actually, we'll set this really high. Let's set it up to sort of like the top of the world. And so it's very far up. Now, the reason we're doing that is because when we summon the shulker, it's going to be visible for about a tick. And we don't want that flashing in the player's eyes. So what we do is summon it up really high. And as it's taking its time to travel down, which will be very quick, it will go invisible. And what we're going to do now is we'll summon a text display. We can't use a marker because markers can't have things riding them. That's why we're using a text display. And we will run function start init. And we'll initialize. Let's save that. Save. Now, have we got some stuff we can check? So we're going to be added the crawling tag. So we could check. Let's go to start init. And let's do a say hi. Oh, let's actually say start init. Let's say the name of the function to make it a bit better. Now, let's do a reload. Okay, we've got absolutely nothing happening there, which is nice. That's just what we like. So we'll have a look through and see what we're doing. Let's check that our tick is actually running. Running tick crawl. We'll go to tick crawl. And we'll just pop down here and we'll say, hang on. We'll say hi. I have a feeling that maybe I've not added something I need, but oh well, we're not saying hi, we're saying eh. Reload. Did I save it? I did save it, and it's not saying it. So, do we have a mistake in that function? Tick crawl. Is it available on my list? Aha! Tick crawl is not on the list. Therefore, something in there is wrong. And this is just going, well, if I've got one command wrong, I'm literally not going to run any of them. So we could spend quite a while trying to find out which command it is. I think what we can do also is we could just copy this command. Let's copy this. Let's take it over here and pretend we're going to run it in Minecraft. No red on that one. Okay, let's have a look here. Copy that one. So we're not even really looking ourselves. We're just copying each command across into the chat window on Minecraft. We'll copy that one. Now this doesn't always work because if they're all okay, we'll be kind of stuck. We'll be like, oh, well, it's all the commands are okay. All the commands are okay. Oh, wonderful. So let's check all the way from the beginning. Our tick is calling 115 tick. So that should be calling this tick. We'll say ooh in there. Let's just double check that that tick is running. That tick is certainly running. Execute as all players at S run function tick crawl. So something in here is still wrong. What is wrong when it doesn't show up on the list, but all the commands seemed acceptable? What have we got wrong? So we know every command is okay. In that case, I think it's probably something like it doesn't like the fact that one of these predicates is empty. We've done is sneaking. Yeah. So maybe it doesn't like the fact that predicate step on empty is empty. So let's do that. Let's go over to misode. We'll reset this one. Oh, I should set it to the correct level. There we go. 1.2, 1.4, correct version. And let's do some property check here. Entity properties. Entity is this. And we want to check their flags is on ground true. Now that will be true if I'm standing on a shulker. But I'm not actually standing on a block. So we can also do a check for stepping on and say, are we stepping on a block? And the block we're stepping on is a string, and we say Minecraft air. Any type of Minecraft air, because we're using the tag list there. So, are we on the ground? True, because standing on a shulker counts as the ground. But obviously there's no actual block there, so we are stepping on air. So we're stepping on the ground and we're stepping on air, which is a bit weird, but we'll copy that. Let's put that into our step on entity and save that. And now we have that predicate working and that predicate working. Let's see if that has made it happier. Let's do a reload. Okay. Now starting it only worked one time because we're not removing the crawling tag. So tag myself remove crawling. And it works again. Okay. So there's something to keep in mind. Predicates, if the predicate file is empty, this whole function won't work. Okay. Right. Let's crack on. Where were we? So we're doing the start. And we went into start. And we did that. And we're doing start init now, aren't we? Okay, so we've got a bit of stuff here to do. Tag the text display with crawling. Okay. Now, if we look at start, we are running start init as the text display we've just summoned. So that's easy enough. We can use @s. So we can do tag @s, add crawling. Add a temporary tag to the text display. Okay, that's easy enough as well. Tag @s, add, we'll just say this. And we're going to remove the temporary tag, so let's do that now. And let's summon a shulker and make it ride the text display. Execute, summon, a shulker, run, ride, @s, mount, any entity whose type equals Minecraft text display, whose tag equals this, that's why we tagged it, so we can use it there, and whose limit equals 1. Okay, let's set up the shulker's data. So the shulker is now riding the text display. Text display is @s. Okay, so we can just do execute on passengers, run data, merge entity. @s is now the passenger because we're running executing on passengers. And we want to put a load of stuff in here. So let's tag it first. Tags, because tags are nice and easy to do. Let's tag it with crawling. I don't want it making any noise. Silent, true. We need to make it invulnerable in case it goes into a block. Invulnerable, true. Let's empty its death loot table. Death loot table, which I believe we might still be able to do empty. That will probably fail. When I say fail, I mean it will fail to find any loot, so it won't drop anything. We want persistence required. We don't want this thing disappearing. Persistence required, true. Just have a look at the spelling on that. Okay, we don't want it shooting anyone, so no AI is true. We want it to be invisible, so let's do active effects. We'll have a list in there. We'll have one entry. One entry will have an ID. Minecraft invisibility. Did I spell that right first time? Well done. We'll have an amplifier. Oh, we didn't spell that one. That's what I get for being cocky. Of 0. Duration. -1, so it's forever, infinite. And show particles. Is it show particles? Oh, hide particles. Show particles. Show particles false. Okay, that's the active effect. And we want an attribute to make it all tiny, tiny. Attributes. We'll have a list of them. We're going to have one attribute. The attribute will have an ID, which we will set as Minecraft scale. And we want to put a value in there. Well, we'll affect the base value 0, 0. What's the smallest you can do? Put 625. Uh-oh. 0.0625. That's the smallest you can go. And now we'll copy the player's ID from storage to to the text display, because that's at S, isn't it? So we'll do that. Yeah, scoreboard players operation at S ID equals ID holder ID. Because remember, in start we copied the player's ID to the fake player, and so in start init we are now copying it from that fake player to the text display. Okay, that seems all right. Let's do a test. We've got to test often. Now, it's appeared because I can see its ID is matching mine in the side there. Is it up there somewhere? Who knows? It's invisible. I think probably it's just not being teleported to me. So we're going to have to say now, I am crawling. In which case, that's going to bring the shulker down. So we know it's appeared up in the sky, probably, because that's where we told it to appear. Okay, so that's not bad. We don't have to worry that we're not crawling yet. Well, let's go back. Okay, so we're going to need some way to match IDs. So I think what we'll do is we'll go off to misode again, and we'll do our ID match predicate. This is going to be condition is entity scores. The entity is going to be this, and then the scores. We want to check ID. Open that. We don't want an integer. We want an object. The max we want an object, and min and max we want an object. The type will be Minecraft score for both of them. Okay. The target will be an object for both of them. The type will be fixed for both of them. The name, who are we going to be checking? Well, we saved it into our fake player who we called ID holder. So that's what we'll use. Copy. And the score you will be checking will be ID. So now what we can do is we can save an ID score into the fake player ID holder. And then we can run this and it will check if the thing we're running it as has the same score as ID holder. Okay. That feels all right. Let's copy that. We'll know it's not all right because it won't work. And let's put it into our input. ID match predicate, sorry. There we go. Let's save that. Okay, let's shut a few of these down. Now, so let's look at, we've done start. Our shulker is currently flying up in the air. So if we are crawling active, I think all we're going to do down here really is teleport it down onto my head. So let's go to active. Now we'll store the player's ID. So we'll do scoreboard operations. This is not how that works. Scoreboard players operation fake player ID holder. Remember, that's the fake player we just put into that predicate. ID equals at S, and this function is running as the player ID. So we've copied the ID to the ID holder, and now we can teleport any entity. we could, I can't even type. Whose type equals Minecraft text display. Have I made a mistake there as well? No, I felt like I did. whose tag equals crawling. So that's going to get everyone's crawling shulker box or text display. We don't want that. We'll teleport it 1.5 blocks above their head. So in here is where we're going to use our predicate. Predicate equals, and we'll put in our ID match. So what we're doing here is we're saying they are a text display, they have the tag crawling, and they also have the score equal to the score we just saved in here. Let's save that. Let's go and check. Let's do a reload. Oof, there we go. He came flying down from the sky and he's now sitting on my head. Nothing has happened to Minion. Okay, let's try crawling with Minion as well. Okay, seems to be working. And we look on the ID list, we've got a 4, a 4, and a 3, and a 3. So that's good. Okay. Let's have a little swim around. Cool. Okay, let's hide that ID thing off the side now because we can see they're linking up okay. Right. Crawling done. Now we need to be able to stop crawling. So let's go on to stop crawling. So let's have a look at our tick crawl function. Check if the player stops. They have crawling. They tried to press jump. Okay, so let's get that predicate working. Well, that's strange, isn't it? Must be the way the predicates run because input jump here is empty. Yet this function didn't mind it. Maybe if it's only if you run a predicate like this, execute if predicate, that it has to be full. Oh well, let's go and do input jump anyway. I might do some testing on that later. So here we are in predicate generator again. Let's reset to default. Let's do entity properties. The entity is this. The predicate we're going to be checking is type specific because we can only check inputs from the player because no one else has inputs. And the input we're looking for will be jump equals true. Okay. I think we're done with that. Let's copy it. Let's take it back. Let's go to input jump. Let's poke it in there and say save. Cool. Okay. Let's do a test. Crawl stop. So let's go to stop and let's just say stop. Save that. Go back. Do a reload. And if I press jump. Okay. Now it doesn't matter that we've got that little jittery bit because that's me sort of getting stuck on the tiny little shulker. But in a minute we're going to be removing that shulker, so that's not a problem. Okay, that works. So we're going to store the player's ID again because I only want to remove my shulker, obviously. I don't want to kill everyone. So scoreboard, players, operation, our fake player who we'll call ID holder. Their ID will equal at S ID. Remove the crawling tag. That's a nice easy one. And kill the player's text display. So we'll execute as any entity whose type equals a Minecraft text display, whose tag equals crawling. So that's now going to target all of them. Let's do the ID check so it only kills the linked one. Predicate equals ID match. Let's copy that and just pop it in there. And limit equals 1. We will run function remove. Let's copy the resource path of that one and pop that in there as well. Save. So we should be jumping off to remove. Okay. Let's have a look at remove. Teleport the text display into the void. Okay, no problem. I think we're running as the text display. Stop. Execute as text display. Nice. That means in here we can just do at S. So we'll just do TP at S. -2112 will do. So down you go into the void. Then let's kill its passenger. Execute on passengers. Run kill S. And let's get rid of the text display itself as well. Kill S. Save. All right, I feel that we're kind of done there. So let's reload and try and jump. And let's actually put those scoreboards back on, because we can use that to check if it disappears. Yeah, its ID's gone, so it's disappeared. Minion, do you want to jump as well? Just do a little bit of test? Yeah. Cool. So we're basically done, but the player can still stand on each other. So let's do a demonstration of that. Minion, just do a little bit of crawling there for me. And I don't know if I'm anyway how I'm going to... But there we go. I'm on it. So this is what we don't want happening. Because if you've got a map, you've now got to take into account that players can help each other jump up ledges and things like that. We do not want that. So we need to fix it. And where am I? There I am. This is the more complicated bit. I did say earlier we're going on to a more complicated bit. But don't worry, because it means you get to see some marvellous, fantastic graphics, which I will draw for you to describe what's happening. So here we are. We're going to be doing this bit here. Step on entity. Well, we've done step on entity. Are we stepping on the ground? The shulker box's head. And there's air underneath us. Yes, they are. The shulker box is not a block. So that's fine. We need to run this function. Step on check. Step on check is what we're going to be doing now. So we're going to be using a DX check. But the DX check can only do one whole block at the smallest. And my hitbox, let me press a T randomly for no reason. My hitbox, F3B, F5, the top of that square there, is 0.6 by 0.6. We do not want to be checking a full block. We only want to be checking if it's intersecting with my hitbox. So get ready for some marvellous, marvellous graphics. Let's do the command first. So we're going to be going into step on. Okay, let's save that. Step on. We are going to, let's see, execute, positioned, minus 0.3, that is half of the width of my hitbox on the X, minus 0.3, half of the width of my hitbox on the Z. And my feet are going to be on top of the shulker, so we're just going to move it down a little bit as well. Okay. Then, as any entity whose type equals a Minecraft shulker, whose tag equals crawling, whose dx equals 0, positioned minus 0.4, minus 0. No, we keep this one the same because we've already gone down 0.1, minus 0.4, if entity at S, which is that shulker, dx equals 0. It took me ages to get my head around this. Run function step on disable. Copy resource path. Okay. Now, I haven't forgotten that we haven't done the step on check as well. Step on check here. We haven't done this either. Okay. So, let's do the step on check too, because it is needed to get into that function. So we'll do return. We're going to return a value. Run execute positioned minus 0.3, minus 0.1, minus 0.3 as any entity whose type equals Minecraft shulker, whose tag equals crawling, whose dx equals 0, positioned minus 0.4, same, minus 0.4. If entity at S dx0. What are we doing? What is this madness? Okay, let's press save. Some of you maybe worked out what we're doing. Right, as I said, if we're checking with an area with a dx check, if we only specify dx, it will also automatically basically do this. dy equals 0, dz equals 0. It will fill them in for me. So this, when I just type dx, I'm actually doing dx equals 0, dy equals 0, dz equals 0. And what that's going to do is it's going to define an area. And we started at this area here, so minus 0.3, minus 0.3. And we're doing a one box. So let's get on and do some fantastic visuals. So we'll do it from the side first. From the side, hey, I need a brush, please. Here's my hitbox, that's me. You can see it's me because I am happy. Okay, we want to do a hitbox check. And we want to check sort of like that. We're just checking this little bit. That's why we've gone down 0.1. So we can just check if we're intersecting there. But we don't want to be checking this whole area. So if we look from the top, boom, boom, boom. There's my hitbox from the top. Now, our first check, execute positioned, minus 0.3, minus 0.3. And we're doing a dx check of 1. So it's 0.6 across here. So it would be executing in the center. But we're doing minus 0.3 on the z and the x. So we're coming down to here. And we're defining a check. There. That's fine. That's good. Now, if we come down 0.3 and we are 0.6 long, this little remaining gap here is going to be 0.4. So, what we're doing next is we're positioning another minus 0.4 and we're doing another dx check. So, we're here, we come back another minus 0.4 and we do another dx check. And we are now checking if the entity is both in this check and it's in this check, then it must be inside my hitbox. And because we've moved it down by 1, we're also doing a little check there. So that is what we're doing with that command. Look at that wonderful graphics. Yeah, you look happy there. Okay. That's what that's doing. Let's save it. Let's close it. Was that a good explanation? I don't know. I think it's probably more helpful than me just saying, just type this command. It works. Well, I'm really confused about where we've got to. So let's do step on. Step on disable next. Copy the shulker's vehicle text display ID to storage. Okay. So we'll execute as a vehicle. So this function is being called as the shulker. We look at step on as the shulker. Yeah. So now we're going to say, well, execute as the shulker's vehicle. That is the text display. Run scoreboard players operation ID holder ID equals at S ID. Okay, so we're going to be doing a ID check or an ID check, and we now have the ID saved of the text display, which is the vehicle of the shulker that we are currently jumping up and down on top of. And now we want to stop the player with matching ID from crawling. So we will execute as any player whose tag equals crawling, whose predicate equals ID match. And I think we'll have to let's limit that to 1. Limit equals 1. There should be only one player with that ID anyway. And we will run function crawl stop. Copy resource path. crawl stop, which we've already filled in. Okay. Do you know what? I think that's it. Did we do our step on check? Yes, we did. Okay, let's... Ooh, it's a long one. Let's do a reload, and I am hoping that it's going to detect me standing on top of Minion's little shulker there, and we're going to fall through. It's always good to hope. Doesn't mean it's going to happen. Okay, well, let's do a little bit of finding out what's going wrong. That could have been the end of the video. Execute, step on entity, step on check, step on. Let's go to step on and just see if it is being cool. Actually, let's do our first function. Okay, we've got step on, we've got step on check. We don't have step on disable. So step on disable, where are you? What's wrong with you, step on disable? Execute as vehicle, run school players operation. Let's do our little copy you, and we'll just paste you in here just to check we haven't made any simple mistakes. Okay, that looks okay. Oh, execute as S, tag crawling. Stop player. Execute as all. Let's save that. Let's do a reload. There we go. Okay, I wasn't saying player. Cool. That was a nice quick one to fix. Down you go. Oh, excuse me. And I'll get on top. Well, yes, you look sad. I know, you're just trying to crawl and I keep stopping you. Anyway, let's not waffle on too much. There we go. We have crawling, multiplayer friendly, and we're stopping people from jumping on top of each other's shulker boxes so they can't get up to higher places where they shouldn't be allowed. Cool. Thank you very much to Gal Sergey for help. He did kind of set it for me as homework. He said, here we go. How are you going to get this to work? And then very much so handheld me as I walked through the process of working it out step by step, which I found actually really helpful. Very good for learning. Rather than just saying, here's the answer, look at it. It was, you know, I'll help you. I'll walk you through it, which is very cool, actually. And so thanks for that. And anyway, the rest of you have a great day. All of you have a great day, in fact, everyone. And I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.